Dagestani-style wrestling is dominating the UFC right now, no doubt.
And when these Russian dudes from these regions start to come, it's going to be a problem.
Top-tier fighters have consistently struggled to counter their aggressive grappling style, often coming up short. For a while, it seemed like this approach would dominate the future of the UFC. But now, one Brazilian jiu-jitsu expert believes he's cracked the code. His name? Craig Jones.
Wrestlers, especially Dagestani wrestlers, we've ruined their careers as well.
And with a few Australian UFC champs showing results under his guidance, it's starting to look like he might be onto something.
Even when he got you down those couple times, you were up. Was that all Craig Jones, by the way?
Craig Jones is about to face his biggest challenge yet. And if his athlete succeeds, it could mark the end of the Russian wrestling dominance in MMA. This is the rise of Craig Jones and how he's shaking up the grappling hierarchy. So who is Craig Jones? If you're not familiar with him, Jones is one of the top Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world. He's captured multiple Polaris championships, medaled at ADCC, launched his own grappling promotion, and stacked up victories over elite names like Gilbert Burns, Chael Sonnen, Gerald Meerschaert, and Rafael Lovato Jr., just to name a few. And if you enjoy deep dives into the toughest losses from MMA's biggest stars, check out our second channel, Late Night Fights. The link's in the description. But beyond his incredible resume on the mats, what really sets Craig Jones apart is his wild sense of humor. And that's a big part of his appeal.
If you have the right mix, I call it the Goldilocks zone. If you have the right mix of autism and steroids, you are guaranteed, 100% guaranteed to become a world champion. And that's the thing, is that people are focusing on steroids, but really as a world-class coach, you really want to attract people with autism because you can give anyone steroids. Despite our best efforts, we've yet to give anyone autism.
It's that signature Aussie wit combined with elite grappling that's brought Craig Jones into tight circles with some of the biggest UFC names from down under, fighters like Alexander Volkanovski and Jack Della Maddalena. And thanks to Jones's influence, the most dominant run in modern UFC history might finally be showing signs of vulnerability. For nearly a decade, one style has reigned supreme in the octagon, the relentless pressure and control of Dagestani wrestling.
UFC's on the decline. Too many boring-ass wrestlers taking over the divisions, so UFC basically called me. They said, hey, can you help us?
It all began when Khabib introduced his suffocating, grappling-heavy style from the mountains of Dagestan to the UFC. Since then, it feels like nearly every weight class has its own Magomedov, a fighter from that region who no one wants to step into the cage with. And that's no coincidence. In Dagestan, wrestling isn't just a sport, it's a way of life.
Islam and Khabib are great wrestlers. They really are MMA wrestling. But where they come from, where people don't realize where they come from, they're not at the highest level at all. Yeah, I'm talking the Abdul Rashids, the Gadisovs, the best wrestlers. They're not even in the top 30. Yeah. And top 50. Where they come from in Dagestan and in the Kafkaz Mountains with wrestling, I mean, it's the highest.
When you hear Islam Makhachev speak about wrestling, it's like he's describing food or water, something essential, not optional.
If you want your son high-level wrestling, send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
Thanks to years of dominance, Dagestan now has something powerful. Role models, world-class coaches, elite training centers, and a deep-rooted belief that wrestling can transform lives. For the last decade, fighters from this region have looked nearly untouchable. Whether it's Khabib, Islam, Ankalaev, or others, these athletes have steamrolled their divisions with barely a scratch. Unless you're someone like Merab Dvalishvili, whose relentless wrestling can level the field, going up against one of these Russian grapplers usually means stepping into a losing battle. It's a style that's baffled even the best, but not everyone sees it as unbeatable. Craig Jones certainly doesn't.
The wrestling culture, and they obviously have some submissions in Sambo and stuff, but Sambo is pretty bad as a grappling art, a lot of the Sambo guys enter tournaments, they want heel hooks bands, so it's not a complete grappling art on the ground.
Craig Jones has already found success in his previous showdowns with Dagestani wrestlers, but now he's focused on his toughest puzzle yet, figuring out how to hand Islam Makhachev a clear and undeniable defeat.
Part of what makes Islam special and Khabib special is they have that Mike Tyson effect. Everyone's so scared. They're like, oh shit, if it hits the ground, it's over. You know what I mean? Obviously, no one's superhuman. No one's grappling ability's that good. You know, so I think a lot of people just panic and make bad decisions on the ground.
Craig Jones has played a key role in MMA, primarily through his work with Alexander Volkanovski. Their training partnership started around 2021, when Jones joined Volkanovski as a grappling coach during his time on The Ultimate Fighter.
We really connected on Ultimate Fighter. One of his guys who was going to bring to Ultimate Fighter, Brad Riddell, pulled out last second. So he called me when I was in Puerto Rico, and he's like, do you want to coach on Tough for 5 weeks? And like I said, Puerto Rico was apocalypse now. I was like, yeah, get me out of here. So I jumped on that opportunity, and we were in Vegas 5 weeks together.
During that season, Volkanovski faced off against submission expert Brian Ortega. Fans still remember how Volkanovski managed to escape 2 incredibly tight submission attempts, holds that nearly any other UFC fighter would have likely tapped to.
He dove on that guillotine choke. I was like, that is, like, I wish people could see how beautiful that is the way I see it.
Yeah.
Because I know how hard that is to do. The way he slipped it in and got mount on a world champion.
Yeah.
Full guillotine mount on a world champion, and the guy got out!
And while full credit rightfully belongs to Volkanovski, Craig Jones has remained modest about his role. Still, consistently training with a world-class grappler like Jones likely contributed to Volkanovski's ability to survive those dangerous submission moments.
Not only doing the rounds, the live rounds with him, one of the best grapplers, a lot heavier. You're getting a good, strong feel, you know what I mean? So it's good to obviously prepare for this fight, you know, and obviously his knowledge is incredible. So having him break down a lot of positions, things that I'm usually pretty good at anyway, but then just adding little bits and, you know, just other little details and some new techniques that, you know, that I wasn't aware of.
It really highlighted how quickly Craig Jones influenced Volkanovski's ground skills. But fast forward 2 years, and Volkanovski faced the toughest test of his career, moving up a weight class to take on Islam Makhachev. As soon as the fight was announced, 2 reactions dominated. Volkanovski might be undersized, and Islam's grappling could be overwhelming.
What if it doesn't go according to plan like Volk is saying? What if when you try to take him down, you can't take him down? What if you do?
1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 5 times, brother. 10 times. It's gonna be, brother. I'm gonna keep working, keep follow my plan. And all my opponents say, I'm gonna stop his wrestling. He's not gonna take me down, but Australia don't have wrestling. That's why I think it.
But Volk wasn't coming in unprepared. He had a secret weapon, Craig Jones. Armed with Jones's grappling expertise and a shared goal of cracking the Dagestani style, Volk had more than just heart going into that fight.
Dagestani guys, Khabib, Islam, they are good at submissions, but they break guys mentally and they fatigue him, and then they take the submission that's offered. Oliveira's a guy that can jump on submissions and have an incredible technical ability to finish those submissions, whether you're fresh or you're tired. And then you combine that with Volkanovski, who incredible willpower, never gets tired. You're never going to break him. And as you saw, he only attempted 1 submission the whole fight.
Even I. Though Volkanovski didn't walk away with the win in their first fight, the wrestling exchanges told a different story. Despite being the smaller man, Volk held his own, at times even reversing positions and landing ground and pound from top control against someone as dominant as Islam.
That he was able to survive on the ground the way he was. And not just that, but not just survive, but be completely safe. He was never even close to being threatened with a submission, you know, and the fact that he was like laughing it off and punching him from behind. And
it's crazy, yeah. I mean, I can't take too much credit for that. The guy just is
he's an animal.
Yeah, he's just a monster. He's so hard to hold down, even for me to hold down. I don't get it. I'm like, fuck, you 145? This shit.
Before that night, most thought it was nearly impossible. But even after the fight, when Islam and Craig Jones crossed paths inside the octagon, you could feel the tension. It was a subtle but intense moment.
He came up, I went to shake his hand, he gave me a big hug and then pretended to throw me. And then I thought the interaction was over, and then he circled back. So that's why I was so awkward. I was like, oh, he's coming back. He wants to say, he wants something else. But he just said, why didn't you teach your boy how to escape the body triangle?
Oh, wow. Interesting. What did you say to that?
And I said, well, I mean, obviously you've got to learn how to finish a rear naked choke.
Is that what you said?
No, I didn't say I was laughing.
It was obvious Makhachev realized that Jones and Volk had done their homework. Let's not forget, high-level jiu-jitsu guys are usually insanely detail-oriented, almost like technicians.
Man, it's basically jocks versus autistic people. We're going to win the war, you know what I mean? And really, it's just, they have the takedown, they have the initiation, but they have no follow-up. They're confused. It's like a dog chasing a car. They don't know what to do once they get it. In wrestling, they get the pin, it's over, the referee saves them, they stand back up. That's where jiu-jitsu takes over. So it's a huge hole in their game.
People often call jiu-jitsu human chess for a reason. Those guys spend every day solving puzzles and finding ways to neutralize their opponent's game. And while he might be half joking, Craig Jones seems confident he's figured out how to beat their style.
Obviously, I figured out the Dagestani system. Wasn't a lot of depth there, but I figured it out, you know, like as compared to the systems we have in jiu-jitsu, the Dagestani system, there wasn't a whole lot going on. Basically just creative ways of laying on a man, holding another man down. So we obviously cracked that code. Islam could not keep Volkanovski down. There was incredibly biased judging at the UFC Australia event, and they gave that to Islam.
While MMA sometimes rewards sheer physical dominance, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a completely different game. It's all about strategy, timing, and intelligent problem solving. Craig Jones might seem laid back and always joking around, but make no mistake, he's one of the sharpest minds in the grappling world.
Well, you're very technical. I mean, the thing about your, joking around and being silly about it all is like you are, but your technique is very, very good, obviously. You obviously are one of the elite guys in the world when it comes to technique. So it's not, you are serious.
More recently, Greg Jones once again showed he has the formula to counter heavy grappling styles. When Jack Della Maddalena faced Bilal Muhammad, it was another classic striker versus wrestler clash. Historically, guys like Wonderboy Thompson and Leon Edwards struggled with Bilal's relentless pace and control. And while Bilal isn't from Dagestan, he's trained extensively with fighters he even traveled to Russia to sharpen those skills.
Like, them guys go so hard, and there's not a round off. Like in every gym, you have those rounds off where, like you said, if you have close friends that they see that you're tired, like they'll be, all right, I'm gonna go a little bit lighter with you today because you feel sorry for your boy or something like that. Over there, it's no. With Khabib's gym, they want to win every round. They want to win every second. There's no flow grappling.
Their bond grew so strong that both Bilal Muhammad and Islam Makhachev have publicly said they'd never fight each other. Bilal blends a traditional American wrestling base with elements of Dagestani grappling, creating a hybrid style. Interestingly, that's the exact kind of approach Craig Jones has repeatedly criticized and challenged in his own training philosophy.
Wrestling is not good. American wrestlers, when it hits the ground or nothing happens, the referee saves them and stands them back up. Unfortunately, in MMA and Jiu-Jitsu, we continue, and that's where really we have an advantage, again, over American wrestlers. All wrestlers, especially Dagestani wrestlers, we've ruined their careers as well. But yeah, they do have a heavy bias, but we can beat those wrestlers. Australian grappling, far, far superior to all forms of wrestling.
What makes training with Craig Jones so valuable isn't just his elite-level grappling. He also brings attention to the fight, helping build hype around it.
100%. That goes without saying. I think I felt a natural pull from the fans. I was getting a lot of messages saying, please, for the love of God, help us get rid of Bilal Muhammad. And I believe it's even in his contract. If he loses this fight, he's out.
Yeah,
he's back to Uber driving, which he was quite successful at, 4.97 star review.
When Bilal faced Jack Della Maddalena, the wrestling advantage was completely shut down. While it might have caught some UFC fans off guard, it wasn't a shock to Craig Jones. Naturally, Craig was humble and gave full credit to Jack, since he was the one in the cage putting in the work. But it's hard to ignore Craig's influence. Behind the scenes,
comedian, and he kind of downplays his actual level of knowledge and ability. He's got a very kind of good self-depreciated humor, which kind of almost devalues his brand in some ways because he is a really, really good grappler. I mean, you can imagine if he was talking himself up and telling everybody how good he was, a lot of people would look at him very, very differently. But the reason why people like him is because he's not that person.
But it's highly likely that Jones was the one who gave him the key insights to make it happen.
Gave him no opportunity to close the distance, to get in close on you. And even when he got you down those couple of times, you were up. Was that all Craig Jones, by the way?
I mean, I've been working. Yeah, he's taking all. Nah, he helped me a lot. He's a smart guy, and he was he helped us a lot. Just he didn't come in and want me to change my whole style, but he just watched me grapple and just told me where he thinks I'm good at, and then he obviously tweaked some stuff.
Now looming on the horizon is the matchup that could finally answer the question: can Greg Jones be the one to bring the Dagestani reign to an end? Because Islam Makhachev is expected to move up and challenge Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight belt. In video game terms, Bilal was the mid-level challenge, but Islam, he's the final boss.
Jack Della Maddalena isn't a given for Islam Makhachev. If I'm Jack Della Maddalena, fighting Bilal Muhammad is the perfect warm-up fight for Islam Makhachev. They've got the same style, except Bilal Muhammad might have the best cardio in all the UFC.
Volkanovski did a great job of neutralizing a lot of Islam's grappling, but at the end of the day, he still came up short in both of their matchups.
About where the credit lies, and really, like, obviously he pulled off that bullshit head kick move on Volks in the second fight, so we can eliminate that. But when it comes to pure grappling, I put all the blame on the striking coaches in that camp, obviously. Like, Volks won the grappling exchanges in the first fight, so I think Jack being a bit bigger, Jack's so unorthodox in his scrambles, it's so hard to prepare for. You basically saw Bilal confused. I mean, Bilal's general state of being, he kind of looks a little confused, but we really saw a heavy level of confusion.
But this time, Craig Jones might have found the perfect student in Jack Della Maddalena. Unlike Volk, Jack matches Islam in size, possibly even outweighs him, and brings a far more aggressive striking game to the table. If Islam struggles to get the takedown, Jack's the type of fighter who can make him pay for every failed attempt. And if Jack manages to pull off the win against Islam Makhachev, then it's official. Craig Jones may have finally unlocked the long elusive strategy to dismantle the dominance of Dagestani wrestling. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button. It helps us grow the channel and keeps us motivated to bring you more content. Catch you in the next one.